Good morning, my loves. Today we're going to read a story, another Berenstein bear story. Today's story is called In the Dark. Ready? Get a cozy place to sit, maybe get a blanket, snuggle in. Here we go. In the dark. Being afraid of the dark doesn't just happen to you. It happens sometimes to little bears too. Brother Bear, said Sister impatiently, are you going to take all day to pick up your books? Sister and Brother Bear were at the Bear Country Library. Sister had already chosen her books and was waiting at the checkout desk. Hold your horses, said Brother. I'm looking for a good mystery. Sister Bear usually took out storybooks and books about nature, sometimes books of poems. Brother liked those too, but lately he'd become especially interested in mysteries, especially the spooky ones. Hey, this one looks good, he said. Let's check it out. Said Sister, looking at the cover. It was called The Case of the Crying Cave. It looks really scary to me. Say, this is really good, said Brother later that evening when the Bear family was settled down for some reading. Would you like me to read to you? He asked his sister. Sister was looking at a storybook about 3 kittens who were arguing about which was the prettiest, and it was a little boring. Or are you scared? teased her brother. Of course not, said Sister. She left her book on the floor and climbed into the bench to sit beside him. The mystery began quietly. It told about some bear scouts who were on an overnight campout. When the scouts discovered a dark, secret cave, Brother's mystery began to get a little exciting. And when the cave began to cry and wail, ooh, Brother read the story with lots of expression. Woo! Stop, said Sister, putting her fingers in her ears. That's enough, and she went back to her storybook. Scaredy bear, said her brother. That's quite enough of that, added Papa Bear, looking up from his paper. At the cubs' bedtime, Papa and Mama said goodnight, turned out the light, and left the cubs in the usual sleepy darkness. Outside the treehouse, the bright, busy sounds of day had given way to the soft, soothing sounds of the night. Quiet conversations of frogs and toads and the owls, and if you listened real hard, you could almost hear the softest sound of all, the sound of lightning bugs twinkling and landing on things. But inside the treehouse, Sister Bear wasn't even beginning to fall asleep. That night, the dark didn't seem the least bit quiet and sleepy. In fact, it seemed like a spooky darkness of a scary cave. And the friendly old chest of drawers and the funny clothes tree that Papa made didn't seem so friendly. She was feeling very scared. And then Brother decided to tease her a little more by making that spooky wailing sound. Woo! Mama, Papa, she cried. Hurry, come quick. And come quickly they did. Papa rushed into the dark room, tripped over the clothes tree. Mama rushed in after Papa Bear. All that commotion, Sister fell out of bed and landed on both of them. Whomp. Then Brother, who started it all with his spooky wail, turned on the light. What a mess. Sister was still scared, holding on to Papa. Papa was holding on to his toe. Mama was looking for her nightcap. All 3 of them were pretty annoyed at Brother Bear. It turned out to be a very long night in the bear tree house. Papa and Mama tried to explain that there was nothing to be afraid of in the dark, except maybe running into your clothes tree and stubbing your toe. But it didn't do any good. Sister absolutely refused to go to sleep without the light. and Brother positively insisted he couldn't fall asleep with the light on. Well, the next morning, the bear family was very sleepy. Boy, said Brother, I sure don't want to go through another night like that. Neither do I, said Papa, and I think I have an idea that might help. He took Sister's hand. Come with me, he said. Where are we going? Up to the attic. The attic? But it's dark in the attic, even in the daytime. I know, said Papa. But there's something I want to show you. Anyway, nothing so special about the dark. It's just a part of nature, just like the light. It's your imagination that makes the dark seem spooky. Well, what's imagination? Asked Sister. Imagination is what makes us think that chest of drawers and closed trees are some kind of cave creature. I wish I didn't have an imagination, said Sister. Oh, don't say that, said Papa. Lively imagination is great to have. It lets us paint pictures, make up stories and poems, and invent new inventions. The trick is to be in charge of your imagination, not let it take charge of you. So when they got in the attic, Papa began to rummage through some boxes looking for something. Sister tried to follow Papa's advice and not let her imagination get away with her. There's some tools. See the shadows? She keeps thinking the shadows are something that they're not. Here it is, said Papa, my old night light. Oh, look at that. The one I used to use when I was a cub and had a little trouble falling asleep in the dark. Sister couldn't quite believe that her Papa, her brave Papa, was ever afraid of the dark. Oh, sure, said Papa. Most of us are at one time or another. How about reading the rest of the Case of the Crying Cave? Sister asked Brother the next day. Are you sure you want me to? Sure, I want to see how it turns out, she said. Well, it turned out that there was nothing very spooky about that terrible wailing noise after all. It was the wind blowing across the opening in the cave. Just like the sound you make when you blow across the top of a bottle. Boop, 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 boop. Well, Sister was a little disappointed. And that night, when she and Brother were all settled down in the cozy glow of Papa's old nightlight, she said so. I was really disappointed by the way the Case of the Crying Cave ended. Why? Asked Brother. Because, she said, I was hoping the wailing would be something really spooky like a monster. And she leaned down over her bunk bed and made a spooky face. Hey, cut that out, said Brother. Then Sister went right to sleep. But Brother lay awake for quite some time that night, listening to the owl hoots and thinking that maybe he'd had enough of scary stories for a while. So what we read, what we see on television, and the internet on our phones and computers, we have to really be careful about what we think about them. We have to ask Mom and Dad and Grandma, Grandpa, Mama, Papa. We always have to ask and make sure, is this really scary? Is this something to be scared of? Because it makes me feel that way. And it's okay to be scared. We just have to ask a grown-up. Check it out. Things aren't always as they seem. I love you, and that's a fact. Love you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.